fact that red's so near the middle pocket, the ball carrier is not really the safety zone at the minute, because unless you hide it behind one of the ball colours, that red's going to be on.
Might get a re-rack here, believe it or not. Because it's definitely a bit of a stalemate at the moment. It's a touching ball, so if John can get the cue ball up somewhere in the right corner of the table as he was pointing his cue at there. It's not going to be easy to leave that red safe. Let's go, boys. Let's start this frame again, eh? He's going to roll into them again, so let's set them up again and start all over. Well, there'll be no re-rack now. I mean, Stephen Maguire, that was a very risky one indeed. He could have easily rolled into the red again and looked at John and said, let's start again. As it is, what a chance he's left for John Higgins. Let's have a look at this again. If he just rolls into the bunch again instead of risking this, when he was up straight away, he knew he'd missed it.
You could forgive him if it was first or second frame when he's got his cueing arm going down, but it was a very risky shot first frame.
Especially with 4 or 5 reds in the open, he might be sitting there for a while.
He's always been very aggressive though, hasn't he, Stephen? He likes to get on with things, and very, very good break bowler. It's been quite a while since we've seen the real on-fire Maguire though. He looked like the real deal a couple of 3 years ago when he got to world number 2, but been a little bit out of the limelight in the last few years. Still an exceptional player.
Twelve. 13.
Perfect angle now to bring a few more reds into play. I think he'd be absolutely delighted to be here, John Higgins, because against Rory McLeod he finished up with a nice fluke in the deciding frame.
Struggled against him in the world as well, Dennis, didn't he? Sometimes you have players that you don't play particularly well against, or not at your best, and it seems that John Higgins struggles against Rory.
Meanwhile, he might struggle with his next pot, because that's not the best cannon. He wanted a fuller contact on that red, and the one at the back of the bunch there would have been on. It's still on, but it's not the right angle, because he'd go into the bunch if he tried to pot that. If it had been straight, he would have taken it on. So it's probably just going to be a safety here, I would think.
John Higgins, 20.
Well, he's knocked the black safe, so we've now got the pink safe and the black near the cushion. It's going to be a scrappy opening frame. not bad. It's not absolutely tight on the cushion, so Stephen may be able to raise the butt of the cue in the air and get back off the one left side of the table. His plan here will be to play a cannon onto the black. And if this one had been tight on the cushion, and it nearly was with playing that cannon, John would have been in all sorts of trouble. Still not easy for him, but at least he can still get the butt of the cue up in the air. And now if he can get it tight on the cushion, he'll have Stephen Maguire trapped. Oh, there's a red gone over the left corner, and there's a gap through to it, I think. Now let's have a look what colour. I'll tell you what, it's not going to be easy to get on a colour off this. You'll have to try and get it up near the blue. Unusual this early in a frame. If you have a look at the colours, there's only really the yellow, green and blue available. So the blue, really, he's got to try and get up for that.
One.
Trusting a bit to luck, and I don't think that's going to land on anything easy. Well, maybe a yellow into the middle pocket.
These are not pretty though, are they, when you've just not had any table time? They're very easy to hit the near jaw on these shots. Well played, good pot that. That wasn't easy at all.
Three. Four.
So he's got 4 reds near the pink spot area. So it'll be the blue, and then hopefully another 4 reds and 4 blues.
Nine. Ten.
Yes, this will be quite interesting to see if he does pot the 5 or 6 open reds. He's only going to be probably 15 or 20 in front. So John Higgins may get back to the table again, even though if the black and pink on its spot, you would be saying this is a chance to win the frame. Where the balls are, highly unlikely to win at one visit.
Twelve. Thirteen.
Just slightly gone the wrong side. He doesn't want to risk getting one of the bought ones, but he may have to. It's not easy to. All those 3 reds are blocked in the right-hand corner.
Tell you what, it'd be a good shot, Willie, if he could pot the blue, just stun down past the red. If he cannoned the green, he'd have a red in the corner, a red in the middle. Say he had the white where the green is now. It'd be absolutely spot on, wouldn't it?
And if he played it a weight, just to, if he missed the cannon on the green, he'd still have the red in the left-hand corner, so that's not a bad shout, doesn't that? So if he plays it.
Well, he could hold it, so that's even better. It looked as if he hadn't got the angle to just hold for that red.
18.
Yes, the idea is like to take the one below the green to make the green another ball that's available, but he'd have to get the extension out, so he's taking the easier of the 2 reds. Just want to finish low on the blue this time, just want to finish high, so at least he can get onto those 3 reds that are surrounding the pink spot area. Just off straight he wants to finish here if he can.
$19.
That's a poor
24.
shot because you can pot the red in the middle, but he's got completely the wrong angle on the red. And if he tries to force through the red, getting the kiss off, he's not bound to. He's got to be a little careful in forcing through. It isn't going off, because if we cannon into the red, just keep an eye on the white because it might go very close to the middle pocket. Well, that's turned out
25.
okay.
Just gone far enough to be able to get past the green to the potting angle.
$31.
Couple more easy reds and then he's going to have to start and work a little harder. The one next to the brown's pretty awkward, but he may not have to worry about that one.
This has been really hard work, hasn't it? He's potted 7
36.
reds, 2 yellows and 5 blues, and it just shows you he's only 16 points in front. If he'd have been potting blacks, he'd be 30 or 40 in front. It shows you how important it is to get a big colour in play.
$37.
He'll do well to get another 2 reds and 2 colours.
$42.
There's the tournament pot success rate. 96%. Stephen Maguire, that's quite high. I mean, John's up at 92%.
43.
You're not going to lose many matches if you're achieving that percentage.
And Dennis mentioned this is where the hard work starts, and it's not easy to get into a red here. Just play over the kind of the brown spot, and the red that's nearest his cue, he might try and get on that one first. Bang off the top cushion with left hand side. Well, he's played a very risky shot here. I didn't see the value in that. That was very, very difficult.
In fact, if he had to hit that red full ball, he could
48.
have snookered himself behind the brown. But he's in the driving seat. He can play a telling safety here. Let's just have a look at this again. He was playing off the cushion just to flick the brown out of the way. Didn't get enough side on it, hit the red instead. But if you can get a good cue ball, possibility of getting a snooker here. Maybe he's taking the double on at the same time. No, just in behind the brown.
The only reason I was questioning his
Maguire,
shot
48.
choice, Dennis, he could have actually won the fray with another 2 reds and 2 blues. And that was his safety red, wasn't it? Just in case he broke down.
What John's looking at there is if he doubles the red back up the table, will he leave the one in the middle of the table safe? He'll have to get the cue ball tight on the cushion to do that. And he hasn't got that cue ball tight on the cushion. Let's have a look at the angle. The white would head up towards that red. I don't know if he's going to cannon the red near the green if he pots this one. Yeah, full ball cannon on that red. It looked a natural one, but if he drops the yellow in, the red passes the brown. was just a shot earlier that seems to have changed this opening frame around. Trying to get back tight, he's hit, well, a few balls and left that right over the pocket. Just the brown needed. I would put him 36 in front, 35 on the table, and with the black and pink out of commission. Looking good for Stephen Maguire.
Eight.
Be no heroics here, just make sure they're ready if you can. Give the pocket every chance to take the pot.
Well, he didn't, but the
Maguire,
balls are
8.
not too well placed for that snooker, so it looks as if Stephen Maguire's taken this opening frame.
John Higgins, obviously a master at getting snookers, but he'll have to be a master where pink and black are. Not bad thinking, really, because you can get the black back into play and then just try and get the snookers off the yellow.
Yep, provided he pots the black, that is. We know what can happen along this cushion. Well played.
Eight.
That was a great shot there of the cue running along the cushion.
10.
Very good cueing to knock that in.
John Higgins, 10.
That's a pretty good effort from John Higgins. It really is. There is an escape down the left side of the table, but he's got to be careful, Stephen Maguire. He doesn't get too much side on it. Just below the pocket with a little bit of right hand side. That's the only escape route, unless he's got to go twice across the table, and he'll be going close to the black, so he's got to judge this.
He's got to get loads of side on Dennis, hasn't he, to get there? He may be screwing into the cushion with check side, trying to straighten the white up.
Oh, I prefer the other one with loads of side. Yeah, he's playing it with bottom, so he's trying to force the angle here. He's not going the line that I put up. And that's a
brilliant.
great. Oh, unlucky. You can't believe it.
Well, we'll get a chance to show you the escape route. Well, I mean, this was a fantastic shot he played. He had to completely create a different angle. Look how the white spun. That is so unlucky. Well, we did mention that Higgins was a master at these snookers, and what a snooker he laid.
3.
And if he gets a good angle on the blue here, he can pot the blue, come off the top cushion and move the pink, the difficult pink. And that's the perfect angle there. And if he judges this correctly, as long as he doesn't hit it too hard, he won't knock the pink past the middle pocket, but he's got a good angle to do it. That's the angle he's looking at, somewhere near there, but he doesn't want to hit the pink too hard. Oh, that's a misjudgment.
12.
He hit that all wrong.
You can see the little smile on his face though. He shocked himself how far he missed that bar. I think there was a little bit of a twitch on the blue there. He didn't kind of get through the shot at all. But he's right back into this frame now, isn't he? What a body blow this would be for Maguire, because the break of 48 he made, potting I think 7 or 8 reds, was superb.
I like this shot. I like this shot a lot.
John Higgins, 12.
And all of a sudden, John Higgins has gone favourite at the moment. Oh, this is an excellent return. What a good judgment this is.
Well, this is one of those that you could play the cocked hat shot here, try and put the pink in the middle, but the key thing is getting a good white as well. No, is he okay? Oh, he's returned the compliment with the same shot that Maguire played. That's very poor from John.
It's not unlucky that, I mean, he's played that with topspin. I mean, John Higgins is one of the most experienced players. As soon as you play with topspin, you're going to create that sort of spin on the ball that's going to take the white towards the pocket. What a slip up that was from John Higgins. You can just roll this in or over now.
Stephen Maguire will be delighted to get over the line in this frame because he's not really played a bad shot and could have lost it. And John Higgins, as we've already seen, is a master at getting snookers. But when there's only the pink and black left, it's very, very difficult to get one. How's this cue ball? Just a bit narrow. What an effort, though.
Now, his normal shot would just be to punch this in. He plays them so well rather than just roll it over the pocket. But he's played the little roll, which makes the pot much more difficult. Now, his normal shot would have just been to get down and punch that in the pocket. Don't think he can get the white round behind the black. He could send the pink round to the black, but even if he got the snooker, that wouldn't be very good. The pink might be in the pocket. It is in the pocket. So he did have a chance to pinch the frame, but he didn't take it. So topsy-turvy opening frame, but it goes to Stephen Maguire, and he leads 1-0. Yeah, funny old frame, as they say. Well, it was amazing. John, I'm surprised, John, with all his experience, that pink that he played to send around the angles, to play it with topspin, it's like an old billiard shot, and it's always on. It's the sort of shot you used to play when you were playing billiards, and maybe John didn't spot that. Well,
literally got a good pink, and if he happened to get the pink in the middle pocket, it was fine. But I mean, that's really, you know, for somebody of John's class, it'd be very poor, especially having worked so hard. He laid a wonderful snooker. And Stephen Maguire played a, well, it's fair, you very rarely see that shot played, Dennis, do you, where they screw into the cushion to make the angle.
It was a great escape, to be fair, because I thought he was going to go the other side with loads of side. But watch this, the white arcs, because he's played it with loads of bottom, and he was so unlucky to go in off. So good old opening frame, though.
Stephen Maguire to break.
So to be delighted, Stephen Maguire getting frame 2 underway. I mean, been on a little bit of a tightrope there towards the end of the game, but he held himself together. I think, in fairness, he probably deserved to win the first frame. He made that lovely break of 48 using about 8 reds. And that's a better break off. Most times this week, it's amazing how you get some tournaments where every time somebody breaks off, they leave the long red on. This time, the break off has not left the long red. Well, this is not a good start at all, is it, from John Higgins? I mean, for some reason he was thinking he could get through the gap there and get back up for the blue. That's how badly he hit that. Just looking, because I mean the black's on. If the red pot's in the top corner, he can just screw back a couple of inches to get on the black. But obviously the easiest spot is the one he's closest to, but he'll have to play for the blue from that.
Yeah, I like this one up into the corner because there's precious little, as you say, Willie, that he can leave. And you're right down his cue. Hello. He was up, he knew that was in as soon as he made contact with it. And there's one at the back of the bunch that will go. He's played for this loose one, but there is one at the back that will go into the pocket that he's going to pot this red. Eventually, if he gets on that, it would really open the rest up.
Nine.
Yeah, if he's got an angle on the black, if he could leave the white somewhere near the circle or just to the left of it, the one at the back will go, and then he could open quite a few more reds up. Let's see if he's going to do that now or wait for a while.
Well, nearly got the circle, Dennis.
16.
Yes, he'll be forcing through these reds here now because he has left that perfect angle that Dennis was talking about to open reds into play. Two different ways you play this: top spin and try and force through the reds, or screw back and come on and off the cushion, or maybe even get a good kiss off the other reds and stay half ball black. He's played on and off the cushion, and luckily for him the pink sprung out, because I've got to be honest, I wouldn't have thought he'd played for the pink. He wouldn't have took that chance. So a little bit fortunate to be on the pink like this.
2 seconds, Steve.
Arian Williams, our referee, just said, give me 2 seconds. I think he thought the blue was on its spot and he was going to have to put the pink behind its own spot, but suddenly that blue spot just appeared by magic.
24.
Of course, they've got a tough job. The referees, they've got to concentrate 100% on what's going on with all the rules these days, with misses and what have you. But he probably thought the blue was on its spot there. That's why he was saying, give me a couple of seconds.
$31. $32.
Played each other 9 times. Steve Maguire's won 3 of those. In fact, the last time he beat John
39.
Higgins was in the quarter-final of the UK Championship back in 2008. Beat John 9-7.
$40.
It's the next round, the quarter-final, where the matches will be decided over 2 sessions.
That's in no man's land, really.
47.
It's one of those shots where he either I think that time he just played for the red just above the black and just slightly overscrewed it. But if he had gone a little bit harder, you see, he'd have had the red on the pink spot in the opposite corner. He'll take this on because he can get around the back of the reds.
Yeah, he overscrewed it where he wanted to be. See that other little white I've put up? That would have been absolutely spot on.
Looking at one in the middle, but this looks a little bit dangerous. The other red with the rest, he can play as a shot to nothing. Maybe he feels he can play a shot to nothing off this one. Very good.
48.
Very good.
Well, he's put himself in with a great chance to open up a 2-frame advantage against the defending champion here. He's got a natural angle if he wants. He doesn't need that many more, but he's got a natural angle to cannon the little triangle of reds there, and that'll leave him absolutely perfect. That was the shot, and now all the reds are in the open, and he only needs
55.
well, a few more, maybe 3 more reds to make absolutely certain with colours.
56.
Really is a very, very aggressive break builder, Stephen. He, like all the Scottish players, loves to win a frame at one visit. There's another player that's made over 200 competitive centuries. All the Scots are brilliant, aren't they? Hendry over 600, Higgins over 300, Maguire over 200.
63.
Yeah, and these two players we're watching here,
64.
I suppose you could say, served their apprenticeship when they turned professional, practicing with Stephen Hendry, John Higgins for quite a few years, and then Stephen Maguire. I mean, if you're going to learn quickly how to play the game of snooker, couldn't pick a better person than Stephen Hendry to learn off.
71.
This red puts him by the winning line in this frame, so now he
72.
can concentrate on possibly trying to get the highest break.
Yes, the high break still currently held by Matthew
79.
Stevens, a break of 140, £5,000 for the high break.
$80.
16 centuries up to now, coming to the end of the third day's play.
$87.
Doesn't time fly past when you're enjoying yourself, will you? It's the coming to the end of 4 days play, not 3.
It's a magnificent town, isn't it, York? I'm so glad to be back here at the Barbican Centre. Wonderful venue, wonderful crowds.
88.
Stephen Maguire, if he does go on to make a century, with the only player to have compiled 3 centuries in the tournament so far. He's on 2 at the moment. One good shot here, and he'll get another one. Yeah, clever shot that. Powerful choice of reds. Knowing that he's going to have to play this difficult red at some time, he might as well play it now.
94.
Very well done.
95.
He deserves a century the way he's played these. John Higgins completely misjudged his last shot when he was playing for the blue and completely mishit it. Very well done, Stephen Maguire. His 205th competitive century. His third of the
102.
tournament. Now he's got a chance of the highest break. And £5,000 if he can clear with probably pinks or blacks.
So, 103.
He's had a couple of maximum breaks in his career. One in the Scottish Open way back in 2000, and one in the China Open in 2008.
He's amazed there at the bounce off the cushion.
110.
Flew off that top cushion.
$111.
Absolutely perfect on the pink here. Yeah, the table up until now has been playing superb. superbly well, Willie. I haven't seen any bounces off the cushions.
117.
Yeah, I did have a chat with Joe Jaguar last night after he'd played Mark Williams, and he said it was bouncing a little bit off the baulk cushion in his match against Mark Williams, but that actually bounced off the black cushion, which we didn't see last night.
119.
So this is a possible 1-4-4, and that'll take a bit of beating.
$123.
Virtually been on every ball he played, apart from when he got on the pink in the middle, when I think he possibly played to get onto the black.
126.
That was very early on in the break.
$131.
You just can't cue better than this. The proverbial on a string.
137.
Absolutely magnificent break from Stephen Maguire, the highest in the tournament. He goes top of the list, but he goes 2-0 in front with that magnificent break of 1-4-4. Well, Dennis, a warm round of applause there for the high break, and that was superb.
Absolutely, Willie. He never looked in any trouble whatsoever. Beautifully played, and he's more or less saying to John Higgins, if you make a mistake, I'm going to clear them up. And this was the opening red. Beautifully played. Watch, he was up and away around the table. He knew as soon as he made contact with this, it was in. There we go. And that paved the way. But look at the balls, that weren't easy. That was a magnificent effort.
But Higgins' last shot, we're going to get a chance to show you. He's actually playing to pot this, Dennis, and go for the blue. And just look what happens in a few seconds here. Higgins is down on the shot, thinking there's a gap there, and he's playing through that gap to come around for the... Look at the pace he played it. So he's played for the blue and completely mishit it.
Third
Very
frame.
unlike John Higgins.
John Higgins to break.
So 2 frames played, 2 frames lost for the defending champion. First to 6, so it's Stephen Maguire who's got off to a bit of a flyer. Oh, he's pushed a red towards the corner pocket. The only problem for John Higgins, the pink's tied up, the black will only go into one pocket, so he's got to get himself onto the blue. But if he can do, there's 4 reds in a pretty good position here. He doesn't want to hit this full ball. Well, that's unlucky. Very unlucky. He can just get to the green.
John
Hit
Higgins.
that much harder than he needed. Look where the cue ball's finished up. Even the great players can suffer a little bit with the old tension. When you're under a bit of pressure, you do sometimes hit them too hard. Well, this chance now falls to Stephen Maguire with 3 reds in potable positions. They're not a good bunch to go into from the black.
5. 6.
Just play for the red that's to the right of the black here. They're not a bad bunch to go into with that red just to the right of the pack. So it might be black, red, nicely on the black and then into the bunch. Or is he going to go in now? He's going straight away into them, and he's unlucky. He's very unlucky. But as Willie
13.
mentioned earlier, he's such an aggressive player, Stephen Maguire.
Tends to like to bully opponents, Dennis, doesn't he? He's one of those players that really likes to stamp his authority on a match, but then again, sometimes he gets a little bit petulant if things don't go his own way. He's a wonderful player when he's in full flow. That's a clever shot, knowing the green was off its spot. He knew he could play that as a shot to nothing, and knowing the green would be there, and he's got the perfect angle to what he wants here. Can either go into them or play for a loose red.
Yeah, if he doesn't want to go into them, he's got a lovely little shot here off the green to leave that red to the left of the pack. Or if he wants to, he can play for the one behind the black and just to the right. It all depends how he feels. That's the one he's played for. And the only problem with that, he's just a little bit... Well, he's okay. He was leaving himself options. I think it's come far enough to leave the other one. As long as he's straight, yeah, he can get through to the black for that.
$18.
Well, that's a little bit unlucky, but unless he's got one through the gap.
He's had a quick look at it, and if he thought he was on absolutely nothing, I wonder can he get through to that. He might be able to play it with the trace aside, and that's what he's looking at. He's having to bend it around that red that he's close to. Ooh. Who is it said? John Parrott said, ooh, this is a little bit smelly.
Going back to the shot he played previously, he hit this black beautifully, and just look at the way he played the cue ball there. Just lovely, and the worst possible kiss. So it looks like a safety shot. The break comes to a premature end. So John Higgins will be delighted to get back to the table the way Stephen Maguire's been playing in the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Stephen Maguire, 25.
It's one of those where he might be forced to play into pot this and stand the black, because there's no easy safety shot. Well, if he's not on the black, he's very unlucky. I think he can just pot it, but what a beautiful shot that was under pressure. 2-0 behind. If he misses it, probably almost certain to go 3-0 behind. Great shot. Very well played. Deserves what he gets from here.
8.
He hasn't finished absolutely perfect on a red. And he's another good long pot up into the corner. I think he can screw back and avoid canning into the red there just to the right of his hand. Well, he couldn't avoid that, but the pink looks as if it's available. But how many times have we sat and watched this man when his back's against the wall? Okay, it's not against the wall just yet, but 2-0 down. He always seems to be able to go up a couple of gears. That's why he's won 24 ranking titles, and that's why he's one of the greatest players that's ever played the game.
16.
I think he can just roll this black in, come on and off the cushion and get rid of that red that's causing him a slight problem, the one just to the right of the black there. Decided to play the cannon into it. A little bit more dangerous that, but it's turned out nice. So he's well back into this frame and now needs to get a frame on the board, get a foothold in this match.
24.
No, that was a poor shot. He didn't hit that very well. In fact, he played it in off the right hand jaw. Let's have a look at this one again. Watch the red. Yeah. Just left this another tricky cutback. But once again, well, it's not perfect by any
31.
means. That one into the middle pocket. You can't really force this too much, I don't think. Let's have a look at the angle. Might possibly be able to get the right side of the blue. Achieved by playing it with a lot of right hand side. So even though he's straight on the blue, as we show you this shot again, he can leave the red to the left of the pink. This is typical John Higgins, isn't it?
37.
Both in the 90s with a tournament pot success rate. Wow.
John Higgins, 37.
He'll lose a percentage for that one. Now that must have been just, he took his eye. You know, he was concerned about the red there. He thought, I might cannon this red. And he took his eye off that pot. Amazing.
Absolutely right, then. I mean, if he plays it plain ball, he probably kisses the red. He's just trying to pinch a little bit of the pocket and just took his eye off the pot. He'd be kicking himself. Wasn't a kick, wasn't anything. It was just trying to miss the kiss on the red. The cannon there just to slow the white down.
8.
Because he's going to have to go for possibly the blue or bought colour, and the next red is not straightforward unless he gets a half ball blue. And it's an easy cannon into the pink and the reds. This is an important shot in this frame. Needs to be behind the blue, so much so he's made sure. Now he's not bound to get a red from here.
Yeah, what he was hoping for was to be able to pot the blue and just cannon in between the two reds, but he's gone a little bit far for that. See, the white needed to be a bit nearer to the blue, so it might be a change of plan here. Looking to see if the two reds are a plant. I mean, he's got the brown. He could take the brown and try and cannon into the reds.
If he plays a control cannon from the brown, if he missed the cannon he'd be playing two cushions. Well, he decided against. He's going to play your first shot now, Dennis.
No, I think he's going to take it in the corner pocket, Willie, and come off the side cushion and into the reds. What a great effort this is. He's unlucky there, you know, very unlucky.
That was a wonderful shot, wasn't it? Generated
14.
a tremendous amount of topspin, and bar for that little kiss. If he hadn't kissed that red full ball, it'd have been perfect.
Switch it off, please. Steve Maguire, 14.
Well, it's a poor shot to go anywhere near the middle pocket there to catch the jaw, and he's left a free shot for John Higgins. He can play to cut one into the right corner, and even if he pots this and goes up past the balk colours, he can be able to lay a good snooker. So this would be a terrific red to cut in here. All he does, if that goes in, rolls up to the yellow, and he's got Stephen in trouble.
Looks to be playing quite negative tonight, because I mean, okay, the red was relatively difficult, but I expected him to try and play for a baulk colour. I didn't expect him to play it as a shot to nothing. Steve Maguire certainly made him think tonight. This is a shot to nothing though. He can play this and get right back into the baulk area. Just a fraction too hard, so John Higgins may be able to pot this one. Can he see enough of it?
Yep, you can just get past the blue to the potting angle. And let's see what he can make of this. There's a little bit of pressure on this. Well played.
Yeah, some of your headphones are a little bit on the loud side. Can you just check them and turn them down a little
Just
bit, please?
having a word with the referee, Arian Williams. I think someone's got an earpiece, one of the earpieces that can listen to the commentaries, probably just turned up a little bit too loud.
That was a really poor shot again.
8.
Maybe he should have listened to the commentary himself.
Good recovery. Now, what sort of angle has he got on the blue? Well, he's cannoned the brown, which means it's very difficult to get up behind that last red. If he misses the brown, he could have left an angle on the blue to pot it and maybe disturb the difficult red that's on the side cushion. He was playing just around the angles there to miss that brown, and
Green ball.
green's the nominated pot. It's a pretty good effort, but well, a little sort of, he's not shaking his head, but he's more or less saying to himself, "Oh, I don't really fancy this one."
If he'd be 2-0 in front, he'd play it, but 2-0 behind. This is dangerous.
He could double the red across the table, and he might fluke it. Well, it wouldn't be a fluke. It might go in the left corner pocket with a good safety. It's close. It's there.
13.
Now he could do with the colours safe. Just roll the green on the side cushion, try and get in behind the black.
John
Might
Higgins,
have left
13.
a gap here. Not the best from John there, and he hasn't got the green tight on the side cushion.
Well, if he plays it with lots of right-hand side, he could play it as a shot to nothing. But it looks like he's stunning it, so he doesn't fancy the pot. Played that nicely. That's a really tough shot to hold the cue ball from that distance. You try that on your club when you're some 10 foot apart and try and hold the cue ball tight on the cush. Got to be timed to perfection. So 22 points in front. By 12 points in front. Maths has gone astray.
No real value in taking the pot on here unless he can get onto the green. Well, I'm hoping he didn't try and pot that, because if the yellow had gone in, look where he's got the cue ball. It's quite a key frame, this. John Higgins knows that. That's why he's not rushing into the shot. What a big difference, eh? 3-0 or 2-1 in the best of 11.
That's not his best shot. John Higgins will take this yellow on. The natural angle is going to take him right. What he'll be doing here is trying to pot the yellow and try and snooker behind the green just in case he doesn't get the yellow. So just going to try and swing it around those two cushions. Kissing the brown's a slight problem. Oh dear. Wow, I thought he got that. I'm surprised he played it as a shot for something. I thought he'd try and get the snooker as well. Oh, this would hurt John Higgins if he clears from here.
He was so close to that pot, wasn't he? Now, the only thing in John's favour here is to try and get up towards the green. You'd have to play with lots aside and hit the yellow a lot thinner. And if he doesn't do that, he's going to leave a very difficult pot. So somehow he'd like to get close. He's playing it with a little touch aside. Well, let's see how close to the green he can get. There's the thin one. Ooh. Almost developed it. But if he can pot this, he's 10 in front. He needs to screw it back about 12 inches and the brown will be on. Just steadying himself up. What a beauty that is. That really is a beautiful pot. You were right down to Stephen Maguire's cue there when he played that. Have a look at it again. It's worth watching. Look at that. Delivered the cue in a straight line. Right in the center of the pocket. Worrying times
9
for John Higgins. Only needs the pink.
14.
Well, it looked as if the defending champion was going to get back to just one frame behind. A little acknowledgement there as if to say, well done, Stephen. That was a cracking green that paved the way to give Stephen a 3-0 advantage. Well, that was some green, Willie, wasn't it? Especially to clinch the frame. He had to make sure he screwed the white back at least 12 inches.
Yeah, he couldn't have hit it better, Dennis, could he? And it was absolutely dead straight. Very little movement there in the cue, just going back. It looks from the camera angle that his actually right hand came out a little bit, but there you can see he just hit the ball purely. And that will hurt John Higgins more than the previous two frames, because that was a frame he definitely should have won. I mean, Maguire's actually pinched that, and that will hurt John Higgins. He must have thought, well, I'll be happy at 2-1. 3-0 behind at best of 11. Goodness me, it's a bit of a target, isn't it? Got it all to do.
Well, we've got one more frame before the mid-session interval, and the defending champion badly needs it.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, it's the
fourth frame.
performance I've seen from Stephen for a while.
Stephen Maguire to break.
So no good breaks in the previous frame, but the magnificent green as he breaks off will give him an awful lot of confidence. One frame before the mid-session interval. Can he make it 4?
That's a terrific opener. There's one red at the back of the bunch available, and he can get onto that from the green. That's okay, but the pack is really, it's one of your flat back packs, Willie, when he pots this red and finishes on the black. Be interesting to see if he plays for the black here. He might play for the blue. No, he has played for the black.
5.
And it's going to be difficult to get into them now from that position, unless the one at the end. Now he's having to power into it. He'll do well to move anything here. Now he is stuck in Willie's flat back pack.
12, touching
You
ball.
can't get better than a flat pat picker, can you, or something like that? Yes, it was. He needed half ball angle at least there. You can generate a little bit of topspin with half ball, but the only good thing, it's I think it's finished touching, so it gets Stephen in a little bit of trouble here, but got to find the top cushion. Another difficult safety shot for Stephen, but needs to make something happen. He was trying to make it happen there. Excellent first red, but only 12 points.
I think he can flick off the reds and miss the pink and just go up past the yellow. That was about the best he could do from that position. There's no way he could play the other side of the yellow. Got to be a little bit careful with the black situated as it is if you're playing down the left side of the table. Got to keep the cue ball away from that. That's the reason he's gone the opposite side, and he's played this pretty well. Very good shot. He's blocked off the escape route down the right side of the table. You can see a red to get down the left side of the table, but that black is there, as I mentioned. Possibility of getting down on that, but I think he can get down off the one that's just to the left. That's the one. Well judged, that. Very good.
Well, the problem for John Higgins here, he's got to be very, very careful. He's looking at a possible 3-ball plant. If it's on, he'll play it, but he's got to miss the kiss on the black. And in fairness, looking at that picture, this could be made.
Yeah, if he gets the first red onto the second red correctly, it'll definitely go in.
There it goes. Okay, he would have been in and out of ball. The kiss is quite fortunate, but he would have been on a colour anyway because he played it in such a way that he played it hard enough to come in and out of balk. So that kiss, there's a bit of value with the black being out of play, playing the brown straight into the bunch again. I don't know whether he can hit it. He can do that. No, he was obviously too thin. Wasn't trying to bring the black into play, but that's what he needs. Black possibly sneaks into the middle.
5.
Could do with it back on its spot.
Six.
Well, the only problem with this, he's got to play with a little bit of pace so that he doesn't snooker himself on his next red, and he must be okay. Yep, that's well played. This is a decent chance now. There's 3 loose reds.
13.
And the bunch are not all that bad this time. The last time he went into them, they were rather awkward.
$14.
It'd be nice to go into that bunch and leave that red to the left of the black. So black, red, black, leave a half ball on the black, into the bunch and leave that red there as a little bit of insurance. And I'm sure that's what he'll have his mind on here. Let's see how he plays this. He's got one of the best snooker brains in the game.
22.
Has he left enough angle to go into the bunch this time? Because if he sticks in the back of the bunch, that other red's available.
Exactly what you suggested, Dennis, and played
29.
to perfection. And he definitely knows how important this frame is. Get a foothold in the match.
30.
If this was a normal Higgins, I'd suggest he's almost a certainty to win the frame from this position, but 3-0 behind, things are not normal at the moment.
$37. $38.
Funny enough, John's highest break was 37 in frame 3. But this coming just at the right time. He'll head off to the mid-session interval, and he'll certainly enjoy his cup of tea or coffee. 4-0. Might have been
44.
straight to the practice table.
He looks to be queuing quite nicely in the balls. I've not seen John Higgins misjudge a couple of safety shots like he has done for a while, but when he
45.
puts his hand on the table, he looks good. There's a nice little gap there if he wants to play the cannon in between the reds just above the black.
Yeah, he's got a couple of choices. I mean, if he wants to risk the little cannon onto that, he'll leave the red on to the left of that one. He's gone straight into them. Now, it's finished a little awkward. He might need the spider here.
52.
Can he reach it with the rest? Just about, so he's fine.
Yes, and he needs red and colour to get a frame on the board, and when you consider the way that Stephen Maguire's played, just to get any sort of frame on the
53.
board helps at the moment. Stephen Maguire's been very, very good this evening. Still over 91%, well, 91% for John Higgins, and 97 for this particular session from Maguire. That's how well he's played.
60.
Knowledgeable Crucible audience, a knowledgeable York audience. Round of applause there for knowing that John Higgins is over the line in this frame. So that's 60 break,
60.
barring snookers. It'll be John Higgins who gets one back. Bit careless that, Dennis, wasn't it?
Yeah, although Stephen requires 2 snookers, as we watch John miss a pretty sitter, he's probably just so relieved thinking I've won the frame. But we've seen a few frames won with the player needing a couple of snookers. He's just giving himself a little bit of pain here, having to sit and Wait and see what happens. If he can get this black 3 more reds and blacks.
I suppose, Dennis, of the 4 reds that remain at the moment, he'd like to leave
8.
the one nearest the pink, wouldn't he, to make it easier for snookers?
Absolutely.
9.
He could do with getting on that red near the middle pocket and then back up. I'm not sure if can he take a pink and still only need 2 snookers. Yeah, I think he can do. So leave that one, as Willie said. That's next to the pink.
16.
And he could get a really good snooker. Any more pace, that wasn't going in. But now he's got to play for the one that's over the middle pocket. I mean, really,
24.
you'd be better playing for the black here.
25.
And he's going to be tied up behind that pink in a couple of shots' time.
I mean, in an ideal world, he'd like to leave the white in such a position, not only can he get the white in behind the pink, he can put the red very, very close to a bought colour to cut out the different routes of getting out of the snooker, and also, because he does need 2 snookers, a chance of a free ball.
Yeah, he doesn't want to push that red onto a cushion. Keep it away from the bought cushion, and as Willie said, near one of those colours along the D line. But he's left himself absolutely dead straight on the black by the looks of things, yeah. Well, what has he done here? Has he held the spot? Black goes on the pink spot.
32.
Not a bad idea. He can make it even a little bit more difficult now. So just stun, sort of tight to the black, and get that red between the yellow and brown. Over near the brown would be good. As long as it comes off the cushion, it'll be difficult to hit.
Stephen Maguire. 32.
John Higgins will be playing the 3 cushion escape. It can't be a miss here, of course. The only thing is, if he just drifts by it, it will leave a chance to get snooker in behind the yellow again. So he's got to play this pacey enough not to leave a free ball, but I'd much rather be above the red than below it. And he's going to be below the red here if he misses it. Has he hit it? You see, now he's giving him a chance to get in behind the yellow, whereas if it had been the white above the red, it would have been a lot more difficult.
You could see how important it was to leave that red away from the cushion there, so that John Higgins was struggling to get out of the snooker. Not sure about this one. Not the best. You can just bend that around the brown with a little touch aside. You can see him just raising the butt of the cue slightly. Just watch it. This is a gentle swerve. Watch the white. See it? And he's got the snooker back. That's ran on far enough. We'd like to see this red disappear, because if he hadn't missed the easy red when he was in, they'd already be sitting in their dressing room with their cup of coffee.
Why is it when you're playing, when your opponent needs a snooker, it's always difficult to pot that last ball? If it had been 34 behind there, that red would have been a certainty. It's a different mindset when you just get a little bit anxious when your opponent needs a snooker. You just try and Try and make sure of the red rather than just get down and knock it in. If he needed to clear up there, he'd have potted that red.
Well, the only good thing about that shot was he kept the red safe. He looks a bit bemused at the way he played that. We see John Higgins can't roll this red over a pocket because Stephen Maguire, I'm just having a little think here, if he was to leave the red on, if Stephen Maguire was to pot the red and the blue and clear up to the pink, look where the pink's sitting, it would be so easy to get a snooker in behind the black. And that's why he's looking at the scoreboard now, Stephen Maguire. He had a glance round and he's probably worked that out. If he can't see enough of the red to try and get over behind the brown, he was thinking about it.
I suppose the only problem is then if you did play that, you only get one chance, don't you? Just one chance only.
Yeah, you got to get it absolutely right.
Well, you may take your option now, Dan, because this is an excellent chance to get. Well, really, he'd like to take the blue because he'd like to leave the pink there, as you rightly said.
One.
Right, well, he's only going to have that one chance. I mean, he doesn't have to clear up. He could still pot the blue and play the snooker on the colours before he gets to the pink. Well, that's what he thinks about that. He just pushes the black and pink away. And John Higgins, well, he should have had the frame over about 5 minutes ago, but it doesn't really matter. He needed that badly. He got it, but he goes to the mid-session interval, trailing 3 frames to 1. Yeah, let's go and put the kettle on, Willie. We'll have a little cup of tea, and we'll be back for some more red button snooker in about 15 minutes.
Mid-session interval over. John Higgins will be a little relieved to have got a frame on the board, having been 3-0 behind. He made a break of 60 and winning frame 4. And he's played the perfect break-off in frame 5. Four cushion escape into the pack just below the pink. That's going to slide a little bit. That slid a little bit. That's a poor shot.
Miss. John Higgins 4.
John Higgins won't take the miss. I think it's a little risky to try and move the red away from the black here, but he's got no other choice. I don't know whether he can get enough side on it to check up for the blue, but if he can, he'll play that.
1.
Oh, he's a bit unlucky there, just a fraction away, isn't he? having a long, hard look. I think this one might pass the pink into the middle, but what a shot this would be. If he could pot this and flick that red away from the black, or even cannon the black. Just a little bit harder and it would have been an absolute cert on this black. These are tricky little shots. See if they touch the near jaw.
Ron Higgins 5.
Won't go in, but he's blocked the pocket, and if this red doesn't go up past the blue, look at that, it's half in the pocket. But if the red goes up past the blue, it's a free shot for Stephen Maguire. It's an awkward angle because he's so close to it, but yeah, it clearly goes. But always tough to judge these, Willie, Arthur, when you're close to them.
Takes a little bit of pressure off though, doesn't it, knowing that he can't leave any other ball on, so you can play it with a little bit of confidence, but they are very tough to judge. We'll know before him whether it's gone in from that angle. Look, we'll know straight away as soon as he's hit it. It's close. So a little bit unlucky there, John.
Where's the red going? Well, we talked earlier in the opening couple of frames how aggressive Stephen Maguire is. Do you think that was an aggressive shot there? Have a look at this again.
Especially because there's two loose reds. The one at the back of the pack most people would have played for, but you can see the bonus when you play a shot like that.
Nine.
That was a nice little nudge. Well, the only thing is with the pink, will it have to go onto the blue spot? That red to the left of the black is causing a slight problem. The pink spot, if it's clear and it doesn't tie the pink up, then he's okay.
15.
It might be available into the right corner, but immediately, you know, he's got on that red that I mentioned that was causing a bit of a problem. He's on it straight away, and all of a sudden with that
60.
one shot, the black's in the clear, the pink will go in the right corner, it'll go in the left middle, the reds are all over the table because of the way he played his opening shot. It's a good chance.
$23. $24.
Well, knowing how he's scoring early on this evening, you'd expect him to win the frame at this visit.
It's a bit like listening to John Parrott. He hits the ball a bit the way John used to do. You know, punches it, and if
29.
you were on another table and there was a curtain there, you'd know who was playing, because John used to, you know,
30.
not bash the ball, but, you know, hit it firm, Willie. And Stephen's that sort of player, isn't he?
Yes, he makes no mistake, doesn't he? Doesn't want to have him rolling off too often. But the break of 144 he made in the second frame, was that really out of the top draw?
$35. 36. $43. $44.
Yes, he can win the frame without worrying about the red that's on the left-hand side, but somehow he's going to have to get these 3 reds into play. Just looking now whether any sort of cannon. The thing is, if you play to kiss the pink, if you don't get it full ball, say you get it half ball, you won't move the reds into play. He's took a risk here. Yeah, he took a risk there. This is not an easy pot into the middle.
49.
Yeah, he was looking for a half ball contact on the pink at that pace, but I think this one should be okay. But the problem is he can't just sort of stun it in and out onto the black because of the red there that's near the cushion. No. Oh.
50.
I thought once he touched the near jaw it wasn't going to go in, but just the pace there. Any harder, that would have come away from the pocket. Now he's running away from the pack here. I don't know if those 2 reds are a possible plant. Well, it looks as if the one closest to the pink pots, and when he pots this it releases the other 2, so he's already built up a substantial lead. So just a couple more reds. There you see the difference. 47. So he only needs colour and 1 more red. I mean, the pot success rate has been quite something. Have a look at that. This is in the whole of the tournament. 96%. Well, even John Higgins is at 91%, but for the whole tournament so far, Willie, that's quite a stat, that.
It's nice to see him back in form, isn't it? Because I mentioned earlier on in the match that he's been struggling a little bit over the last couple of years. He's usually a player that gets to the latter stages of quite a few tournaments. He hasn't done that for quite some time. Mind you, when we first saw that set off, I thought that was it.
Maguire, 57.
I didn't even look at... let's have a little look, see it pulled up the jaw. Let's have a little look there. Well, that's how true the table is. That has never deviated one little bit.
He's got himself under a bit of pressure here as the defending champion at the moment, because that was a pretty comfortable shot. Worrying times for John Higgins. Just going back to that pink, Willie, on these super fine cloths, they don't turn with the nap. In the old days, that pink would automatically curl into the pocket, but they do run perfectly straight, as that illustrated there.
Yeah, we showed you the pot success rate of the tournament for these 2 players, but the key thing is tonight that John Higgins' pot success rate is not quite as good as Stevens, and this is just on tonight's match, on this session so far. On tonight's match, you see 96 to Maguire only 87 to John Higgins now. That is not good enough. But in saying that, nor is that shot. He just concentrated so hard on putting the red safe. If he got the white.
Yeah. And really, that red's not safe, because if John Higgins can pot a red, and well, if he tries to pot this, he'll play for the black. But eventually, well, in fact, he may even elect to try and double that red. That's near the pink, the safe one. But yeah, this one that's near the corner pocket. See, it just shows you on the club table you'd get down and knock that red in that's near the left corner pocket. But instead, John's attempting a double. No, a long way off. And this red will cut in. I don't know if he can reach around. He's going to have another stretch here to see if he can reach it. Oh, he's been lucky. Okay, he's left the red over the pocket, but he flicked that red safe. That red up near the middle pocket was on. And that was quite an advantage there, knocking that red safe for Stephen Maguire. I'll just show you. I mean, he would have won the frame if that had have gone in. But watch this. Ooh, that's a nice little flick.
Don't know whether he can get enough side on this to drop right in behind that red at the top end of the table. He can't. He played to get right in behind it to try and put it in the middle. Unfortunately, he misjudged it. Tried to finish on the cushion, Dennis, didn't he? Right in behind the red to leave him choice of 2 or 3 pockets.
John Higgins 8.
At the moment, Steve Maguire needs a red, and anything from the green upwards would be enough. In fact, he'd need the brown to make absolutely sure that John needs a snooker. No, even the green would do. Used to pot a red and a green, he'd be 44 in front with 43 on the table.
Well, that's more like the John Higgins we know. And that was an excellent pot, but as you can clearly see, the remaining 2 reds are going to be really tough to get on. The fact that he's right-handed, the one in baulk is not too bad, but the other one would be needing the rest. Well, normally John Higgins wouldn't risk a double, but I'm just wondering whether he knows this will really hurt Stephen Maguire if he could pinch this frame. Very unlike John to take a double on. But the double he has played, and to no avail.
John Higgins,
that could be his last shot in this frame.
Yes, he fully committed to the double, didn't he? Played to leave himself on one of the baulk colours. Didn't really get close to it. So one good pot from Stephen Maguire. Doesn't miss many of those. And John Higgins is facing a 3-frame deficit now.
9.
Whatever happens now, John Higgins will remain in his chair. So Stephen Maguire looked certain to win it at one stage and gave John Higgins a lifeline. Wasn't able to take it. 4-1 behind. He's got it all to do now. Going to have to win 5 of the remaining 6 frames possible.
15.
Been a little bit quiet in the break building department since the second frame where he made the magnificent 1-4-4.
17.
Tell you what, Willie, what about that yellow to hold for the green? That was quite remarkable. At that pace, a
20.
slow drag. Okay, there's no pressure on it, but that was some shot.
24.
Yes, he started with the
Frame.
57, which was the
Stephen
catalyst to
Maguire.
winning that frame. John Higgins now with his back firmly against the wall. Stephen Maguire goes further clear at 4-1. It's just gone a little bit quiet as far as the breaks are concerned from Stephen Maguire. But, you know, he's cueing so well, and we see a chance, a shot on this yellow, I think, Dennis, that you talked about. Tell us how difficult this is.
I mean, the normal pace, the white would be up around the blue or pink. He's played it with loads of bottom, and he's delivered the cue absolutely perfectly to hold this. It didn't look possible on this very fast cloth. He's took the pace out of the cue ball there before it reached the yellow. I mean, that looked easy, but that was quite a shot. He's up for this, isn't he, Willie?
Yes, he always looks very aggressive, and you know, sometimes, you know, like I said, just when things don't go right, sometimes he tends to get himself at it. But tonight he looks totally focused.
Yeah, he's at the table. He can't wait to get on with it. Waiting for the referee, Arian Williams, to finish respotting the balls.
Cue frame 6. Stephen Maguire to break.
John just coming around the table to see if he can take this long red into the left corner and possibly get onto the black and not leave anything should he miss it. That wasn't the best. I think he can get past the pink. A little wry smile from John there.
Foul. John Higgins 4.
Yeah, luckily for Stephen, the enough makes precious little difference. There's no red on, but the only thing it does do is get John Higgins' hand on the table, so he should be able to reply with a good safety and bring a few reds into play. Got to be a little careful he doesn't tie the black up here, because he's going to be kissing into the pack that's going to push another red towards the black. It's just about okay. I didn't think he'd risk knocking the black into a safe position, but he's okay. very aggressive safety shot, wasn't it there? But he's pushed the red over the left-hand corner. Well, I say over the left-hand corner. It's a tough pot to play, but he can play it as a shot to nothing. Could possibly go for blue or bought colour from here. If we want to be really courageous, he could play it slow for the black, but he's got himself in a very strong position. Doesn't want to give John Higgins a chance to get his hand on the table just yet. So purposely playing for blue or bought colour.
One. Six.
Now, can he just roll this in? Leave the black to the opposite?
7.
It's an early chance again.
He hasn't really put the frame beyond doubt at one visit since the 144. He's only had breaks of 32 and 57 in the last 3 frames, and should he go on to win this tournament, his scoring would have to be a little bit more consistent.
14.
When you consider you're playing the world champion and the world and UK champion, that is. He's doing his job this evening.
Well, they know each other's games so well, these boys. It's amazing how the standard in Scotland has improved over the last 10, 15 years. 3 world champions from that small country. John Higgins, Graham Dott, Stephen Hendry,
22.
the 7 times champion.
23.
And Stephen Maguire, well, he's won this UK title. He'll want to try and get that World Championship on his CV.
Dennis mentioned a little early, even though these two players know each other's games
30.
so well. Dennis mentioned earlier that Stephen Maguire hasn't beaten him since 2008 in this tournament at the UK Championship, so he's got a very, very good chance this evening. Looks like he's possibly going to take
31.
a 5-1 lead.
Well,
he's obviously found a plant. Straight in the middle.
39.
Yeah, these two players played each other in last year's UK Championship. John Higgins won that 9-7. Almost straight on this black. There was 3 reds that are behind the pink. One of them is available. There's a couple of others, but well, he's not even straight, so it makes it slightly more awkward. When you screw back off the cushion, you're going to need a lot more reverse side. We'll just watch the white. Well, it seemed to kick. It seemed to jump a little bit, and that sent it off on a slightly different path. So all of a sudden, with that heavy contact, it could be the end of break.
46.
You could see the black clearly jumped there.
It's funny how certain shots, I mean, that shot happens a lot when they're playing screw shots off just off straight blacks, isn't it? It's amazing how many times people do get a kick from that particular shot. Why, I don't know.
Yeah, you probably get more kicks on a little run through, you know, when you're... But it does happen sometimes. I won't get you talking about kicks again, Willie. You were talking yesterday about all the professors that were studying what causes a kick.
Plenty of people have written in to the BBC over the years to explain what they think, but of course all those things have been thought of before, you know, the electricity, the gloves and everything. It's been so many tests have been done.
I remember a lighting man in Northern Ireland. We used to play at the Riverside Theatre in Coleraine, and we're talking about back in the early 80s, and he was convinced it was static, which could be generated. And sometimes you get the referees with their gloves rubbing the ball. Well, coming up to well, it'll be a minute and a half's thinking time. He's deciding whether he should cut this red in, and it looks as if he wants to take it on. Oh, what a shot that is. What a shot that
is. 47.
Under the circumstances, it's the sort of shot you'd have a go at if you're 40 odd points behind. But he thought about it for a minute and a half, and he pulled out a little beauty there.
Yes, it now looks a very good decision, but we'd have been saying, well, why has he given John Higgins a chance to get back into the match if he'd have missed it? But it's just what you fancy sometimes. Sometimes you can't see an alternative. Sometimes you have to make things happen. And boy, he made things happen there. That's not the best of shots. I needed another 2 feet of pace, but should be able to cut this one in okay.
52.
Yeah, he's certainly starting to dominate this match now, battling for a place in the quarter-final, where it will then go to 2 sessions. It'll be the best of 17.
Judd Trump awaits, I believe. That'll be a bit of a match, wouldn't it? Whoever wins this match against Judd Trump.
That might be a little bit too pacey. Is it going to pull up in time? Looking at
58.
Stephen's body language as he walks around the table, it's going to be very tight. Well, maybe just. Wow, fractions we're talking about there.
'59.
And we've said so many times, it is a game of fractions, snooker. Look at that, yeah. Just managed to miss the black.
Just a glance at the scoreboard, we'll tell him he's 55 in front, the black 62, so one more red and high valued colour. He'll take a 5-1 lead. He's not on this one. That's not his best.
I'm just wondering if this red goes up past the other red into the corner.
66.
This is a free shot if it does. He's having a long, hard look at it now. He'll only need this red and a black. As I say, he won't leave anything. No.
Stephen Maguire, 66.
Well, an excellent break of 66. but it may not be enough.
Well, he was looking for a double in the previous frame and couldn't get it. How useful will that double be? Played perfectly.
8. Nine.
How many times have we said that John Higgins sometimes produces his best when his back's right against the wall? Oh, did that kick? I think that might have
John Higgins 9.
got a heavy contact there. Let's have a look. Did the black jump a touch? Didn't seem to. Maybe he just hit it poorly. Well, that little tiny shake of the head might just tell a story there.
He's not looking as comfortable this evening as we've seen John Higgins, and that may be something to do with his first round match, where he had a real battle against Rory McLeod, winning 6-5. If you play bad in a match, or you don't play as well as you'd expect to play, it sometimes could carry on into your next match. You probably can question whether you're playing good. That's better.
1.
Good cueing there. Just having a quick look at the scoreboard to see which colour he can pot so that he can still leave enough points on the table. If he pots the brown, he'll be 48 behind with 51 on the table. Sometimes when you're out there, it's difficult to work out the score. You know, you're so intense on what you're doing on the table. Got to be good at maths also to play this game.
Yes, ideally he'd like to get onto the black from this red, but the blue's causing all sorts of problems there. If he just stuns it in, he's got to be careful he doesn't cover the black with the blue. So yeah, you can play it from there.
6.
He's 47 behind, so obviously he's going to have to take the black. Now, will he risk playing it with the right-hand side? I don't think he can cue it properly. No. See, he'd love to play this with loads of right-hand side and trying to kiss the red away from the cushion, but because of the angle he had on it, he couldn't do it. Because of the yellow. This is back into the frame.
That's 13. Not the best of shots from John. If he hit that a bit harder, the white would have headed on over towards that red. He probably just under-hit that slightly. There's the difference. So he's bringing the more difficult red into play.
John Higgins 13.
And now he's got the balls all out in the open here, so Stephen Maguire's got to be careful. The red is closest to the pink. He could try and flick it into the right corner, but that's got a few problems as to whether he might cannon the blue. And if he tries to flick it in the other corner pocket, that also got problems. Now what does he do? John Higgins is wandering around to have a look here and see if he could take the pot on to the right corner. Would I leave that one to the right of the pink? But what a tough shot this is. But we know what he's like when he's up against it. He won't be afraid to have a go. Oh.
The fact that you mentioned, Dennis, the pink's in the way of the other red, it just takes a little bit of pressure off this, but it's a tough shot to play. You wouldn't normally play it if he wasn't 40 behind. Oh, that kiss has brought the red into play. The red on the blue spot will cut. And remember, Stephen Maguire needs one red. It's one of those situations now, whoever pots the next red wins the frame. If Maguire pots it, obviously is past the winning post. If John Higgins pots it, he can clear up. A little bit unlucky there to flick that red out. And that should be 5-1.
1.
Well, even though he's missed that red, he's some 41 points in front, so barring snookers, Maguire will take a 5-1 lead.
Great chance to get the first of the snookers. Might be able to bend this just a little bit, just a little touch. You've got a perfect picture. Just watch the white go out to the left and then back again.
One.
You could say that was the perfect swerve.
8. 10. 13. 17.
A little bit quiet until came back after the mid-set interval. He hadn't made a decent sized break since the second frame, but in the last two frames he's had breaks of 57 and 66, so he's back in good potting form now. And the situation is quite simple with that winning that frame. John Higgins has to win the remaining 5. Stephen Maguire goes 5-1 in front. And both players have just popped out of the auditorium, and we'll pick up commentary when they both come back to the table.
Okay, frame 7. John Higgins, the break.
Yeah, both players had left the arena after the previous frame, and when John Higgins came back in, he got a terrific cheer. I want to see a little bit more of this match, but what a tall order. Stephen Maguire just needing one to get through to the quarter-final. John Higgins, well, could you say he needs a mini miracle?
One.
Almost played to perfection. A little bit unlucky because this is a tricky black. That's a pot of a man with lots of confidence. Why not? If you look at his pot success rate for the tournament, 95%.
Nine.
See where he's got the tip of the cue. He's going to have to be so precise to leave that one. But if he could get it, what a chance. I mean, he'll come around again and have a look, but that's where he'd have to put it almost in the circle or in line with the circle. That's if he wants to play. He's got other options, but he'd dearly love to play that shot. That's okay, I think. Or has it gone too far? I think he's just about okay.
14.
Yes, and he's got the red at the back of the pack, so even if you finish straight on the black, it wouldn't matter this time. Ideally, I'd like to finish low on that next red after the black to open some more reds into play.
15.
So he's got a choice here. He can either play the cannon. Well, he'll have to play the cannon now because he doesn't have an angle to get on the red. So he's going to have to... The key thing here is miss the first red. He doesn't want to hit the red just above the black.
There's two ways of playing it, Willie. There's that way, or if he fancies going full ball into that red and sending it into the pack, he might even do that.
I think he's trying to walk round that red, Dennis, and play with loads of screw. Oh, just hit. Oh, lucky. Oh, where's the white ended up there? We'll have to have another look.
He didn't quite hit the red. Watch this red he cannons into. Half ball. If he hits that full ball, it sends those reds all over the table. We said how aggressive he was, and rather than play that little delicate cannon, he thought, if I can get all these balls open, I can give myself a chance to win the match.
Yeah, it's just coming up to 2 hours, and it's been 2 hours of all Maguire at the moment. Will we have another hour of this match where it could be a Higgins comeback?
Stephen Maguire, 22.
What about that for a shot? I'll tell you what, Willie, what he did last year in the final against Mark Williams, It was an unbelievable comeback.
8.
I think he had to win 5 frames in a row to clinch last year's title.
9.
Now, I wonder if he's just got that in the back of his mind, and knowing John Higgins, he'd just never ever give up.
$16. Okay. $17.
You see the difference. Sometimes players decide to play for loose reds. He had a perfect angle on the black there to play into those 4, but
24.
decided there was enough loose reds to get him right back into this game. And the pack's not too bad, so every ready pots he'd be opening a gap for another one. Johnny Higgins made a break of 60 and winning the 4th frame.
25.
What he wouldn't give for another 60 here.
$30. Yeah. Okay.
Just having a look to see if he's finished on that one that's near the pink.
$31.
Just one more red that's available. I think the others, don't think there's one that'll go into this corner pocket. That's why he's gone straight into them. How's your luck? I think he's a bit unfortunate here.
38.
The arc, the cue ball, this is a tricky one he's faced with.
39.
Recovery. One more good positional shot. If he avoids the yellow and brown, he should finish nicely on a few reds. Needs to pull up though. Needs to pull up.
44.
That was a strange way of playing it, wasn't it? And everything pots in the right-hand corner, nothing pots in the left-hand corner. But he can still cut this in. Well done. Good recovery.
45.
Maybe forcing just to play a cannon on the one to the left of the pink. He's not got it. He played the cannon on the one next to the pink, but he's okay still.
Yeah, I think there's a red that'll go into the middle pocket,
50.
believe it or not. He did play that cannon that you mentioned, Willie, but there's one suddenly appeared.
51.
And, well, this is a sign of a true champion. 5-1 down, back against the wall. But as I did mention in last year's final at Telford, he was 9-5 down against Mark Williams
58.
and won the last 5 frames to lift the title.
59.
Surely he couldn't win 5 in a row again.
$66. 67.
Already his highest break. He Had a break of 60 in frame 4.
$73. 74.
One of the greatest break builders of all time. 490 centuries he's made. He made
81.
39 centuries last year.
82.
This already is highest break of the tournament.
$87.
We've had 17 centuries so far in this year's UK Championship.
89.
This really is the sign of a top-class player.
92.
A little bit too much pace, but all of a sudden he started to cue beautifully.
96.
Well done, John Higgins.
101.
That's a superb century break, just when he needed it. He's not going to bother about the black. He walks back to his seat.
101.
The defending champion is
Higgins.
not going to give up his crown without a fight. He takes that frame with a beautiful century break, but he's still 5-2 behind. Well, only someone like John Higgins could produce that sort of snooker there, Willie, and that's why he's won as many 24 ranking titles he's won.
And I'm sure there's a few more to come, to be perfectly honest. But in fairness, Steve Maguire was a little unlucky there. He got in first. He was on a break of 22, split them nicely, and didn't quite get on a red. It looked for all money that he was going to get a sizable lead in that frame, but just one chance, and he'd been missing a few chances this evening. So Steve Maguire had to sit and watch while John Higgins compiled a 101. This was Maguire's split, and as you rightly said in commentary, I actually think he tried to arc round that red, Danny. You think he might have tried it full ball? I'm not sure.
It was just the pace he hit it at, Willie. I mean, he could have played a delicate little cannon, but we know what he's like. He's aggressive. He wants to get the balls open, and he was a bit unlucky to finish up the other end of the table, but
Almost like he played a safety shot where he finished, wasn't it? Couldn't have finished worse, really. Almost right on the cushion. But he'll still be pretty confident at the moment, the way he's playing.
Cue frame 8. Steve Maguire to break.
So Steve Maguire's hoping he breaks off for the last time in this match here. I must admit, of all the players that are playing in this tournament, Steve Maguire's the only one I've not seen leave at a red. Every other player in the tournament has been leaving a long pot on. Steve Maguire's found the right way to break off on these tables.
and just as you say that, Willie, John will probably knock this long red in, finish on the black and clear up.
Yeah, but I meant, you know, the one down the right-hand side. Okay, it's a little unlucky to leave that one. There it is. Should clear up from here.
It is a beauty. Not only a good pot, but controlled the cannon.
Would it be just my luck if he cleared up now instead of what I said?
This is some shot here.
8.
But watch the cannon on the red and then the black.
Nine.
Slip up.
16.
Didn't mean to cannon the red onto the cushion. He thought he would have had a nice easy pot. Just watch this cannon here. He wanted to hit it more half ball than the way he did. Well, what's he looking at? This is a tough shot here, but into the middle pocket, onto the black. So a bit of a slip up from John.
John Higgins, 16.
He may not have left anything easy, but that cannon just let him down there.
Got choice of reds. I think the one cuts into the middle, and I think the one he's closer to pops into the yellow bag. And of course, that he didn't have to do a lot with the cue ball here. Once again, we'll know probably before him. I'm not sure whether you can see the right hand draw. You can definitely see the middle of the pocket. It must be quite tight. If he was directly behind it, it would be a certainty. But the fact that he's just off straight makes it missable. Well, there you can see it clearly. He does go, and it's there. Very well played, and played it as a shot to nothing almost. Got to say, these tables are playing remarkably true. We saw a pink that hit the jaw in one of the early frames that kept dead straight. That kept dead straight. Now this is a chance of frame and match, but he's going to have to go into the pack just once. We've already mentioned that Stephen Maguire hasn't beaten John Higgins for a couple of years, so
9.
Just wonder whether that's going to play in his mind a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he's that sort of player. He won't worry about the stats. He's just an aggressive player who wants to attack those balls every chance he gets. If you can get a nice angle on the blue to then go into the pink.
16.
Couldn't
7.
quite hold for the blue there, but he can take the yellow and play for the red to the right of the bunch. As I say, they're a better pack to go into
19.
off the blue, but let's see which way Stephen decides.
$20.
It's going to be off the black, so more of a stun shot. The end red to the left. If he can hit that with more of a stun than screw, he'll open the reds and he won't stick in them. Played it with screw, didn't he?
Yeah, never listened, Dennis, did he? If only you've had an earpiece on.
27.
This is dangerous. I don't think you need to give John Higgins too many easy chances.
Stephen Maguire, 27.
Yes, he'd like to see the outside of the pack to get back into baulk, but the red on the left-hand side is in the way. That's why he's looking at the alternative safety shot. Digging down on this, obviously playing with a lot of check side. Needs to check up. He's mishit this. He's mishit this. As he pushed one on. Didn't get the desired amount of check side. Hit it too thick. Don't think anything pots there. So he's been very fortunate there. Mishit that shot completely.
Well, hang on. Does that look like it's a plant? Okay, there's a bit of distance between the two reds. Just seemed to squeeze it away from the pocket there. Looker has put the cue ball, so he wasn't absolutely certain that he was going to knock the plant in.
This is really a tough safety shot, so much so he's just playing to rest on the red on the cushion. Obviously it would be called a miss if he doesn't make contact with the red.
Foul and a miss. Stephen Maguire 4.
How's that, John? Saying? Well, not going to make a great deal of difference. He'd probably play the same shot again.
No, what's it look on your screen?
He wants to have a look on the screen just to make absolutely sure. We can show you where it was.
Thanks, sir.
That's where it was. Let's have a look now. Just a bit closer to the cushion, but as I say, it doesn't make a great deal of difference. He's just playing to nestle on this red.
Of course, he'd be pretty pleased to hit it that time because he could see a red on. The one on the pink spot he could see, so if he'd have missed it that time, he'd have had to make contact with the red. So that would have put a bit more pressure on that shot. So essential to hit it that time. He's got the upper hand on the safety exchange at the moment, Stephen Maguire.
Oh, that could be costly. He hit the red far too thin. Stephen Maguire's got a good chance to pot a red, get on the black and get it back onto its spot.
One.
What an opportunity has the defending champion. Just played his last shot, which was a pretty poor one, it has to be said. It wasn't an easy situation. Great chance for Stephen Maguire.
8. Nine. Sixteen.
Look at those steely eyes and the determination in them. This will be a terrific victory if he can go on and clinch this frame and match. It's been 3 years since he defeated his good friend John Higgins.
24. 25.
John, well, just that poor safety shot. Let's have a look. He wanted to hit this half ball and he just almost missed the red. brought the black up to the middle pocket, and will he get back to the table?
Well, he's 40 in front. This will be 4-6, so 2 more reds and colours. Should be enough. And that's not his best shot. Made this red in the middle a little bit more tricky than we would like.
31.
Although John Higgins is leading 6-3 in their head-to-heads, they've played twice in this UK Championship. It's 1 each. It looks as if Stephen Maguire is going to be 2-1 up with regards to meetings in the UK Championship. Oh, it's amazing, isn't it, when you get to that crunch ball
31.
that's going to take you through to the next round.
Never looked comfortable, Dennis, there in that little break, did he?
I think suddenly he just thought about the winning post, didn't he?
One.
Well, he's got a lovely little shot here to come off the top cushion, and just, it's as if he was trying to play a cannon onto the red that's near the side cushion here. Just watch where he puts this cue ball. And he's got a slight angle, I think.
6.
Well, not much of an angle, is there? That's a wee bit unlucky.
7.
A better contact on that red, he would have put it on for the middle and he would have finished on the pink, will he?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what he tried. He'll certainly be swinging it around 2 cushions to try and get right in behind these 2 reds. And if he hits it too hard, he's got the 1 second prize in the corner that's tight on the cushion. Now, has he covered them up? Has he covered them up?
10.
If he has, he's been absolutely unfortunate. That is very unlucky. But he's got a lifeline, because Steve Maguire looked for all money like he was going to clear up earlier on.
Oh, what a shot this would be, up past the yellow and into the corner. There you can see what he's faced with. Oh, look at this, right in the middle of the pocket.
11.
Well, if he does it again in this frame, it'll be remarkable. He's got some sort of inner strength, this player, Willie, because we've seen him do it so many times.
18.
This is the only difficult shot. And that pitch didn't look too difficult, did it? Because if he gets on this last red now, he goes favourite to win his 2 on the trot out of the 4 he needs. Stephen will be kicking himself. It was such an easy
26.
chance to win frame and match, and this wasn't even close. In it goes. This is a little bit of a pressure shot. You can play it 2 ways. You can either play it just with a little bit of left hand side and go 1 cushion. Most players decide to play 2. Let's just see what John fancies. Played off 2 cushions. He may have gone too hard.
Yeah, it's easier to judge off the 2 cushions, and he's played it absolutely perfectly. He is quite remarkable, this man. When he's right under the cosh, it's amazing what he produces. Because he would have been sitting in his seat and he would have felt, it's all over, I'm on my way back home.
36.
Just wonder whether that would give John Higgins a little bit of confidence that Steve Maguire just saw the winning post
39.
there. So he'll know whatever the score is that Steve Maguire's got a little bit of twitching going on there.
43.
And all of a sudden, in the last few frames, John Higgins has looked the best he has in the tournament so far.
48.
Well, just 6 short minutes ago, we were thinking that Stephen Maguire was going to go into the quarter-final against Judd Trump. 6 minutes later, with a 54 clearance, John Higgins is back in the match, but he still trails 5-3. Well, there was a frame, Dennis, that we all thought we'd be sneaking off back to the hotel a few minutes ago.
Yeah, listen, fasten your seatbelt, Willie. There's still a bit left in this match here. But Steve Maguire, well, he's going to have to try and put that to the back of his mind, because he was in complete control, and it looked as if it was just a matter of time. He didn't quite get on the red, but it still was a pretty straightforward red here. I mean, he only needs a couple of pots and he's in the quarter-final.
Took a long time to decide which one to play, didn't he? He looked at that red, then he looked at the other red in the middle, and then I think he ended up getting down and playing it kind of half-hard. Look where the cue ball's gone, and he still needs another red.
Yeah, I think initially he was thinking of stunning it in, which probably would have been better, but he was perfectly on the blue, but he didn't get close to the pot, and well, he's got to compose himself now and wait for another chance in the next frame. But I'll tell you what, if he was to lose the frame that's coming up, you'd have to say maybe John Higgins would go back into this match being the favourite.
Yes, he was a strong favourite coming into the match. 4-9 he was against 13-8 Maguire. But he got off to a wonderful start. Stephen Maguire breaks a 48 and 144 in the first 2 frames and looked immaculate. Since then he went a little bit quiet, even though he did win the third frame as well. He never made a break above 30 in the third frame, but he still won it to go 3-0 in front. But then Higgins made a 60, 3-1, and then it's been all Higgins really the last 2 frames. Maguire, though, had the first chance.
Thank you. Frame 9. John Higgins is break.
Well, I didn't think we would be saying it, but John Higgins breaks off in frame 9. It looks to be a pretty good break-off shot. I don't think Stephen can get through to this one to pot it anyway. Might be able to play safe off it. And now that he's knocked that red up past the yellow, could be an awkward frame. What an opener from Stephen Maguire. Almost tight on the cushion. And after watching John Higgins win 2 in a row, how did he manage to pull that pot out? He's okay. He seemed to get a heavy contact there, but he's okay.
5.
This was the poor contact Dennis mentioned. You saw both the brown and the cue ball leaving the table, but luckily for him he had a red that's pretty easy over the middle, but he has a choice of one in the corner as well. Well, we thought the last frame when he was on 22 he had a chance of winning the frame and match, and this is another chance.
6.
Well, he's put himself under
Stephen
it now,
Maguire, 6.
is Stephen Maguire, and when he starts to miss that type of shot, we know he can be pretty tough on himself from a temperament point of view. That will annoy him. He knows that he should already be in the quarter-final, and if he starts missing a few blacks off the spot, especially after the opening red.
1. Eight.
Well,
Foul.
what a
Higgins, 8.
mistake.
Stephen Maguire, 4.
Need to have another look at that. I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. He was playing the cannon, but somehow he... Let's have a look. Yeah, he thought he was going to get a thicker contact on the cannon and leave himself on the black, and he's played a little trick shot there. Ooh. So Stephen Maguire back at the table a lot quicker than he thought he would have been. But he's not striking the ball as good. I don't know if he got a heavy contact there or whether he just didn't push the cue through nicely. Not having it cleaned, I think that the way he's puffing his cheeks out, I don't think he hit that one too well. Well, having said that, that red left the bed of the table. Well, that was a poor attempt to split the reds up.
4.
You see, he was going to get down quickly and play this. He's just got to compose himself slightly, Stephen. He sets such a high standard for himself. You know, he looks a bit fed up with that shot. Well, he's all over the place at present, and I think this
Maguire,
red
4.
will pass the yellow. You wouldn't think he was 5-3 in front at the moment, but I think it's just what's happened in the last half hour or so.
One. 4.
Well, this looks a bit risky, but he could play into the pack here from this red. Very rarely do you play red into the pack, but with the blue being on the pocket, it may be worth the risk. It depends how he feels at the moment. He seems to have got himself right back into this match. Just played to bring the 1 red out, and that's turned out very nicely. They've just flicked that 1 red into play. There was nothing that potted until that shot. Oh, things would change if John Higgins could win this frame,
10.
because Stephen Maguire's had 3 chances now to win this match.
He
just lost his way a little bit at the moment, Stephen. Meanwhile, John Higgins, in a couple of shots' time, could have a good chance again. Pink spot looks to be occupied, so it'll have to go as near to its own spot in the direct line behind it, in line with the black and the blue. He'll just line it up and then just roll the pink towards the red. Mustn't be touching that red.
Okay, thank you. 17. $18.
No, just getting back up again, just making sure he plays the correct shot here if he goes into them. That'll do nicely.
$25. Okay, 26.
Having the white clean, but he's fine. I think there's 2 or 3 reds available into this left corner pocket. Yeah, I think the left of the reds passes the pink without any problem.
31.
As I mentioned earlier, there's not many players in the game could produce this sort of snooker against someone like Stephen Maguire, one of the top players in the game. 5-1 he led. He was 1 shot away from a place in the quarter-final.
$32.
Looks to have left himself a little straight on this black, so may have to just screw back, leave a red for the middle. Oh, this could go wrong. No, just okay. He has that red I mentioned. Some performance this, Willie, isn't it? Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's been given the chance though, Dennis, hasn't he? Okay, it's great to do it, but Steve Maguire, goodness me, the last frame and a half, he's really struggled. And John Higgins is the type of player, if you show one
40.
little bit of weakness, that'll give him the lifeline he needs, and he looks like he's taking it with both hands at the moment. Little kiss into the red will leave all 3 reds on. So he looks for all money. He's going to win 3 on the trot and close the gap just 1 frame.
Just having a quick glance at the scoreboard to see what he needs.
48.
Yeah, another quick glance. The pink will be enough.
54.
A little bit of noise from the other table, but that won't matter now.
55.
And amazing. I think I mentioned a couple of times, 9-5 down against Mark Williams in the final last year. He won 5 frames in a row. That was a remarkable victory. Every chance he could win 5 frames
60.
in a row here to keep himself in this year's WilliamHill.com
61.
UK Championship.
$68. $70. 73. 77. 82. 88.
What a performance from John Higgins.
John Higgins.
He's had 3 breaks now, 101, 54 and that 95 to keep himself in this year's UK Championship. But he still needs 2 to get through to the quarter-final. Well, John Higgins, remarkable snooker player. 5-1 down. Looked like he was going to be on his way back up the M74 up to his home near Glasgow, where the weather hasn't been all that great up that end of the country. So he wants to stay in sunny York. Stephen Maguire has left the arena. I don't blame him, just to try and psych himself up. Forget all about the last 3 frames. He still only needs 1 to get through to the quarter-final. So he'll go out, compose himself, he'll come back, and the next frame is going to be intriguing. We'll pick up the commentary whenever he returns.
Okay, the 10th frame, Stephen Maguire to break.
I'm sure Stephen Maguire has given himself a good talking to. He's got to get back in focus as he breaks off in frame 10. He's just lost a little bit of concentration at the moment. It's not the fact that he hasn't had good chances. There have been very easy chances he's messed up. On the other hand, John Higgins has started to play. How straight is this long red? Can he play it as a shot to nothing and go back up to the blue or bought colour end? No, it's not straight enough. this does pot. He can play this, and amazing enough, can play to get on the black. He might take this on in the yellow pocket. Didn't quite get into it, did he? Play to screw it on and off the cushion. That's all he can do, I think, just run up in behind the black. Thing is, if you just roll up, it's no advantage really, because all John will do is go off the cushion and rest on them. So it's sometimes better playing a slightly negative safety shot, maybe.
Steve Maguire 1.
Just a little bit of a stalemate at the moment with that red up between the yellow and brown. Stephen might be able to send that back up the table, and then we'll get back to a normal frame. Well, I'm not sure about that shot, because he's left a shot for John Higgins to take on to the right corner, and he won't cannon the black, and every chance that he'd finish on one of the bulk colours, if not the blue. And although he has a couple of loose reds, John might go straight into the pink here, but he should never have had a shot at this one. This is going to scatter them all over the table. Now that's okay. I think he's got a straight red to the right corner. And I think the black, not sure if it passes the red that's near the left corner pocket, but he could stop on the pink. But is he dead straight on this? No, he's taking the other one so that he can get himself onto the black. He hasn't hit it hard enough, has he? Yeah, he's not bad.
Yeah, okay.
Just hit that pink half ball rather than full ball, but it still opened out nicely. Oh, that's the first ball that John Higgins has missed for, well, he didn't miss anything in the last 3 frames.
One. Eight. Nine.
We know what a great break builder Stephen Maguire is, as he showed in the second frame, when there's not quite as much pressure as there is now. He knows this is the third chance he's had to win frame and match now. Will he take this one?
17.
This is the key shot. Has to get the kiss right. The one to the left of the black, he'd like to screw into those to leave the two in the same corner as the black. But as long as he kisses them full ball or on the left-hand side, he'll be fine. Well, he could hold it. So the bottom red pots.
24.
Didn't look from our commentary position whether this one was on.
25.
Now one good split here. And he's in business. Well, he's played for the loose one. The one at the back still goes. Not a bad choice. The way he was queuing up, it looked as if
32.
he was going to screw that black in, but can he hold himself together? He's faced a bit of an onslaught from the defending champion in the last 3 frames. Good queuing there because he was a bit closer to the cushion than he would have liked.
Well, he took that chance that Dennis was talking about, the chance to go into the bunch. There was a couple of loose reds there. He didn't have to go
40.
into them that time, but he knew that if they split nicely, he would have choice of shots. So he's probably 1 red away from now from making this a certain clearance, because everything else should be a little series of stuns and screws. So if he gets nicely on the colour now, I can't see Higgins coming back to the table.
Well, John Higgins' name is on the trophy 3 times.
.41.
As he just looks at the other table there, that's the trophy that he has won on 3 occasions. His fellow Scot here has won it once.
48.
There's Stephen Maguire's name, 2004. Can he clinch it this time?
.49.
Already 43 in front. He'd have to do something very careless this time. John
55.
Higgins was in the balls with a chance.
56.
And then he missed a black that we didn't expect him to. Just over cut it slightly. Well, it doesn't matter what you win in the end, Willie. It looked like he could have won this match 6-1, but John Higgins put up a fantastic
62.
fight back, winning 3 in a row.
.63.
Regardless of who won this match, it was going to be a cracking game against Judd Trump, but the defending champion will be on his way back up to Scotland.
Yes, the quick
70.
glance at the scoreboard there tells him he's 64 in front with 51 left, and John Higgins may come back to the table if he misses this red, but Stephen Maguire looks like he's in the next round. Well, John Higgins just off his hand, and congratulations. put up a
Thank you,
real
John.
fight with the defending champion John Higgins, but Stephen Maguire was just a little bit too strong for him on the night, and he goes out probably a deserved winner by 6 frames to 4. Well, that's it from this table this evening. We're back on again at 12:30 tomorrow. I look forward to your company then.